Shall we please all move forward and be seated? Good morning. Today is day 4 of our LMS week. We will begin with an opening prayer by Mrs. Angela Ray. Shall we please give her a round of applause?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Shall we please bow down heads for a word of prayer? Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for the gift of life. And we thank you for how far you have brought us as a division. We started with you and you have not abandoned us. We commit today's session into your hands. We invite you, Holy Spirit, to come and give us understanding and help us to participate and learn so that at the end of the day, we will benefit from what is prepared for us. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Angela Ray. For our 6th session, we'll have a public forum on how citizens engage with Parliament, explaining petitions, committee submissions, and oversight. Our presenter for the day is our very own venerable clerk, Mr. Ebenezer Ahuma Jetro. Shall we please give him a round of applause?
Thank you very much, and good morning once again to all of us. Oh, some of you are not smiling. Smile is good, oh. Don't squeeze your face. Yes, so I believe all of us here, as members of staff, have learned a few things about how Parliament functions. And let me advise you, anytime you have programs of such nature, do your very best to attend, because that's how you add to knowledge. Where you are now, you could be called upon at any time, but by a friend, a neighbor, a colleague in another institution, or maybe someone is caught up in a situation and needs to know how to navigate. You are staff of Parliament. Yes, I think you should be able to help us, give us some advice as to how we can navigate our way. It should be possible for you to do that. Standing here, if I'm far away somewhere, and I want someone needs advice, someone needs an intervention, one way or the other. There are people I won't even think. I can just call upon them. Go and see this person. Go and see that person. Your problems will be solved. So, as procedural clerks, as officers of Parliament, we should be ready. In my church, there's a group called Royal Rangers. When they say ready for anything. Ready for anything Parliament. When they wake you up in the morning and they ask you a question about Parliament, you should be able to answer. It doesn't take a day. Programs of such nature. So have no regrets, okay? Focus and let's interact effectively and enjoy the process. We'll proceed. We don't have much time. So the topic How citizens engage with Parliament, explaining petitions, committee submissions, and oversight. Very interesting. But the intricacies of the game, how to navigate. Time and again, you hear Mr. Speaker say, well, that's not a procedure to follow. People come here, they want to present petitions to the Speaker, they want to present petitions to Parliament, and it's their expectation that they should always walk in, the cameras should be there should be majority and minority leaders standing by, Mr. Speaker himself there, the clerk to Parliament or a very high profile officer should be there. Then they hand over the petition, then the cameras, then the whole world will know that yes, for the optics. There are political situations where we will manage those, but there's a clear procedure laid down in the standing orders on how you navigate your ways. Not just petitions, but how citizens generally engage with Parliament. The outline, we'll look at, the modes for citizens' engagement with Parliament. We will try to explain the petition process. We'll look at rationale or relevance of a petition, types of petition, who may present petition, rules on petition, steps in presenting a petition, committee submissions, oversight. Oversight is a whole subject matter on its own, which can take maybe 1 week if you want to treat oversight. 1 week. You can still be talking about, yes! You can still be talking about oversight. Committee submissions and the relationship, how it connects, with oversight. We'll look at how we can improve public participation in the work of Parliament, and then we'll attempt some conclusions. So we start. Citizens' engagement is a fundamental pillar of a well-functioning democracy. It is a sine qua non. Without which you cannot. Democracy will never be democracy if citizens are not actively engaged or not actively participating. How many of you heard about the culture of silence? Culture of silence. Adams, I thought you are old enough. IGP, I know you do. Yes. I'm the only person who is permitted to call him IGP. If any of you dare attempt to call him IGP, you have problems of multiple proportions. I'm the only one who can call him IGP. I'm sure you recall the culture of silence. You recall the period referred to as the culture of silence. Those days were in the university. The early days of the PNDC. We started from AFRC and the PNDC, and if you are a lecturer and you are lecturing, sometimes you try to find out whether all is safe, because they could grab you whilst in the classroom. And I recall, don't worry, we will run very fast. I recall one period when Kofi Dra, was giving us some toli and said, tell that young man to leave my class before I start teaching. Who happens to be that young man? A very great statesman who, I wouldn't want to mention the name. If you want, come and find out from me in chambers. Citizens must actively engage. And it's a fundamental pillar of democracy. Because Article 1 Clause 1 is very clear. By now, if I call any of you and say, what is written in Article 1 Clause 1 of the Constitution? You should be able to answer. Article 1 Clause 1. The sovereignty of Ghana is vested in the people of Ghana, in whose name and for whose welfare the powers of government are exercised in a manner and within the limits laid down in their constitution. So sovereignty belongs to the people, is vested in the people. So the question of who is capable of saying This is how our democracy should be. That power is not vested in the president. The president has no such powers. No other person is the citizens of Ghana. And that is why it is their inalienable right to actively engage and participate in the democratic process. But you don't engage or participate by waking up early morning. Some of them may not even have brushed their teeth, and they on radio, and they are talking about things they don't even understand. It may be part of the engagement, but that is not a constructive form of engagement. Now, so it is the process by which the public participates in the work of the legislature, holding it accountable and helping to shape laws and policies. So don't get angry when you hear something in the media and then they are bashing Parliament. Sometimes, what they are saying, you don't even understand. Some of them don't even understand. They don't have the facts. But it's their legitimate right to actively engage, to participate in the process. I'm not saying you should go and do that. If any of you goes to do that and we fish you out, we will deal ruthlessly with you, because you are not supposed to do what? Actively participate in the political. You can contribute your quota. I know my good friend, learned friend, sometimes engages on television, and then but he runs some lectures. He volunteers credible information. He does not do crossfire with the people. No! MPP said this, NDC said that. If you do that, you are courting disaster, because that's not your role. Citizens engage Parliament through various formal and informal channels that enable them influence lawmaking and oversight and representation process. So constructive engagement of the citizenry is a fundamental pillar in our democratic process. And let us take note. Citizens engage their representatives, members of Parliament, through various channels, including the following. By now, we know what it means to say citizens engage. Any form of medium that provides interaction, provides a platform for some interaction between the governed and the governed and then I don't want to say governors, because if I say governors, then probably, I'm mindful of the use of the word government, governing, and the rest. Because Article 295 of the Constitution defines government as any authority by which the executive authority of the state is duly exercised. So when you mention government, Parliament is not part of government under the Constitution, even though you and I know. And if I had my own way rewriting the Constitution, we'll change that. You make sure our submission that we are putting before the Constitution Review Commission should look at the definition of government, because it's problematic. And yet, sometimes we can't help but to see the legislative branch of government. The legislature is not a branch of government. It's not. The legislature is an organ of state. It's not an organ of government. It's an organ of state. The executive, just as the executive is also an organ of state. If you mention it that way, then you are putting the legislature under the government. The legislature is not under government, because the definition of government is executive. And when you mention executive, one face pops up. That is the president. So the MPP and the other CPP and the rest, they will frown because they are not part of the executive. Do you understand the process? Yes, this is just as we go along, we should bear these things in mind. So there's various channels used. One of the channels is petition. Citizens can submit petitions to Parliament to raise issues, request changes to laws, or to seek government action. citizens engage in this. Time and again, petitions are poured here. I can't even count the number of times I received petitions. Some directed to the Speaker, some directed to Parliament. And sometimes what a petition is calling for, we'll get there, is something that you sit and ask yourself, Okitri Kodini Mekua, upon Chenidia, no nothing for free. But if you are Parliament, who bet him for free? Why? Because you represent the people. So you see that Parliament is a fulcrum in this whole process. And petition is one of the way they engage. Personal engagement with members of Parliament. Individuals can write to, email, or meet with their local MPs to express concerns or seek help on issues affecting them. And their MPs may raise these matters on a platform. So, but you realize that the constituents have got this all wrong. When they run to the MP, school placement, that's the season in which we are. Is that not it? Is that part of the mandate of Parliament? Is that part of the petition process? School fees, joining the military, joining the police service and what have you, hospital bills, and so on and so forth, including money to pay dowry. When I say this, don't take it as a joke. It's a reality. I was with my chairman, and I'll mention his name here, Kwame Oseprempe. We've gone for a program, and then Honorable Makonyi saying, Obabi, oh, and you can be so mamiska, Namiko Warren, come. The man had one wife. You are trying to chop from several other pots, and now you are asking him for money to go and marry that additional woman. You are MP, you represent our interests. We are supposed to come to you. Very interesting, So the dilemma of the MP, and then they write, in the advanced countries, the MPs really use their email systems and their platforms. And that is how they constructively engage the members of Parliament. So it's very critical. And then, so what it also means is that over here, we should be able to facilitate the process for the MPs to be able to constructively engage with their constituents. That is our core responsibility as parliamentary service. Those with member center, leadership offices, and the rest. If they don't have formal emails which enables them to interact with their constituents, because it's part of the process of actively engaging, we can facilitate that. But don't facilitate active party niyama. I'm going to share t-shirts, and then it's election time. Join me to the constituency. And if we catch you, we'll deal with you. Now, several other modes. They seek help. They seek intervention. There's nothing wrong if the people of Jetrokope gang up and come over to see Honorable Doyo, my cousin Doyo, and then they can call me. You too, you are a senior person here. We want this and that and that. That is legitimate. And I'm supposed to help Doyo to facilitate that process, but not NDC Congress, NDC meeting in Adan or in Jetrokope or any other place. I'm trying to help you to narrow down and zero in and constructively, catch the picture. When we say engagement, what it actually means. Participating in public hearing organized by committees. We're still talking about the engagement, the personal engagement at the personal level with the MPs. It can take several forms. And I encourage MPs to make their email system very vibrant and interactive. because it's a measurement tool for those who are literate, how constructively you engage with your MPs. It can provide you data which will guide you in the process for you to know where the directions are, where your interventions should be as a member of parliament. For the public hearings, every soul here has heard about public hearings, right? Public hearings on all matters. I think I need to run very fast, otherwise let me just look at the others and we'll go. So we need to look at that. And then the civic education and outreach programs. Civic education and outreach programs. The Citizens Engagement Office and Public Engagement Office, the Citizens Bureau, amongst others, some, should I say organs or outlets through which Parliament engages with the public. And educational programs, you could move to a constituency, run some programs, explain policy issues, what is happening there for them to appreciate what is going on so that the public will understand. We used to do these things. Every year we used to do public forum. We stopped. Justice Anand's time, we used to. Until I think Peter Lajete, yes, we did it. And then it's, the speaker is trying to activate most of these things. We need to go back to it. You see them line up. Majority leader is sitting here, minority leader is sitting here. In those times, they are all present. They are all present. These days, sometimes the leaders get busy and they try their best. But they block time. And Justice Anand is sitting until we finish the public forum. People come and ask questions, students, TUC, Bar Association, all of them. Market women, they come, interact with us. We took it to other regions. We're even trying to get to district level. It provides effective platform for Parliament to constructively engage with the public. A petition, what is a petition? Petition. If I may ask, what's a petition? What's a petition? How do you understand petition in your language? Petition, simply put, don't tell me because I belong to the clergy. It's a prayer request. The simplest interpretation that all of us here will understand, it's a prayer request for something to be done. For something not to be done. For something to be given. For something not to be given. Because somebody can submit a petition and ask that it will not be right to do this. This will be against public interest, public morality, public order to do ABCD. It may be right or it may be wrong. It's either you are stopping, asking that some action not to be taken, or an action should be taken. Some facility to be given, or some facility not to be given. Somebody's rights have been violated. You're asking for intervention. Simply put, a prayer request directed to Parliament. Why directed to Parliament? Because Parliament represents the people. Though they cannot get fed up. There's no way Parliament can say we are fed up. We are there. It's because of the people that Parliament exists. If the people don't exist, Parliament will not exist. The concept of parliamentary democracy as perceived from the Greek city-state, where the male adults met, engaged, discussed matters that affect, the society. They don't discuss about themselves. How society could make progress and all kinds of. So, Parliament, this is why you exist. So, prayer requests can come from all angles. That's why sometimes when they bring school fees and the rest, say, this one too, is it part of my mandate? Actually, it is not, because the Constitution didn't make you a development agent. Unfortunately, however, you are the person representing them. They don't know where to go. So you are the one they will go to. Then you can tell them, on this matter, go to legal aid. And legal aid will help you. And as the MP, you facilitate the process over there. Go to GES. There's a matter I'm currently handling. And I have to get in touch with Haruna. Somebody often falling sick. He's in another school. He's in second year, SHS. And he has to change the school because it's a problem. It's a very difficult thing. They have done it, they've hit the wall. And I'm not an MP. But, so the wahala I carry, I don't take your share of the common fund. A blind person writes to me, I mean, the faculty of law, I have to pay my school fees, blah, blah, blah. You are the clerk. I want you to help me. That is just one out of the blue. There was a student from University of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology reading medicine. He came to look for Honorable Oseche Mensah Bonsu. Oseche was not there. He meets me. I mean, as a high-profile officer here, knowing the value and essence of education, what do? I had to do this on the quiet and give it to the person. Some time back, I saw a gentleman smiling at me. Oh, sir, don't you remember me? Don't you know me? Oh, you gave me this. When I was H, was in, oh, okay. I think he's in, now he's in, if I'm not mistaken, he's in Harvard. Continue. And I'm happy in the absence of, I didn't even mention it of Osechi, but that was a good intervention. And today he's somewhere. Talking about petition. All kinds of things. But we have to have a way of streamlining. And government has to probably face the realities. If MPs have to development agents, so let it be. Otherwise, provide them resources. If you don't provide them resources to do these things, and they are there, they're always facing fire, then you get up and say, an MP is corrupt. If he goes on his knees and he prays, you won't have it easy. Because the problems they face, in the name of what? Handling petitions, representing the people, taking care of their needs, they face myriad of challenges. But you need to ensure that the system recognizes and responds to these challenges to properly position you to be able to do that. Now, petition 6, the intervention of the House, consideration of the House, for the House to intervene, for the House to consider a matter, for the House to make an inquiry or investigate a matter. That's what a petition is. It's a prayer. And that prayer is seeking some remedies. The remedy is that consider this matter, intervene in this matter, otherwise there will be miscarriage of justice. But Parliament knows its limits because Parliament has a clear mandate. Somebody wrote to us, there was a matter in court. He brought a petition here. We investigated. Kwesi Bandwa was in the chair. We investigated and we realized that this is a matter before a court. So we wrote to him, oh, my brother, you want us to do what? The matter is before another constitutional body. We can't do that. They need to be guided because for the public, they don't understand. They have to be guided. Now, petition can seek policy review or change. Can request you to investigate, or have a matter redress. It can draw attention to an issue of importance, public importance, which you may not have reflected over it. And yet, that particular matter needs to find expression in government policy direction. So you don't just rubbish petitions because they are worrying us. They don't know. No. They bring up a very important matter. Petition provides a formal channel for citizens or groups to seek redress or interventions. We know teachers do, nurses do, right? Sometimes UTAG, there was a time, the university was closed for 1 year. IGP, you suffered that. Yes. because there was a matter which had to be addressed. The chief architect, in fact, when you people were there, we were leaving. The chief architect is the man in the seat of education. Today, the man in the seat of education. Hey, he had demonstrable prowess. The GET fund formula we use today. Thanks for their intervention. He leading the student body. We were by then taking a bow out. And they beat some of you. You were beating. you were beating. Very interesting, because the police had to come in. And it wasn't easy for them. We had a narrow escape. The day I joined the demonstration, I said, hey! Today the Krife people are showing up. He said, this one, dear, all of us. Yempini. It's part of the process. And those days, there was no parliament. You know, we're getting ready into the, to usher ourselves into constitutional rule. It provides a venue for citizens to influence government decisions, making. Petitions do. It's one of the best ways of influencing government policy directions, And these are legitimate, constructive channels. And it's better than sitting on radio and running commentary and raining insults. It doesn't yield any good results. Well, it's one of the mediums that a listening government could pick from the issues. There was a time I was advising somebody, a politician. I said, you people, when you open your mouth and say A, B, C, D, remember there's somebody sitting somewhere, tabulating. And the day of accountability, he will use it against you. You say you will do this, that. What has happened? You haven't done it. And you too, if you are in government, when you open your mouth and say A, B, C, D, make sure you have a scribe, a follower, who scripts. So that when you go back to office, or maybe in a week's time, they bring it to your attention and say, hey, remember you have said A, B, C, D over here. So you have to do what? Be responsive and make sure you get things done. It is a good thing because it helps government to make good decisions. Promotes participatory democracy, transparency, and accountability. It's good. The process. Because everybody gets involved. They're able to speak their mind. They write formally, drawing your attention. And they are holding it. On the day of accountability, they will flag it at you. It enhances trust between parliament and citizens. Petition, the process, enhances what? Trust between the parliament and the citizenry. Because governance has its object. Governance has its ends. The ends of governance is human development. And that human development is an obligation that a government has assumed. The presumption is that government has entered into a social contract theory with the citizens. You will do A, B, C, D, and we'll give you a vote. So when we give you a vote, we expect the A, B, C, D to be done. If it is done, trust is enhanced. If it is not done, it undermines trust. So parliament, if we open our mouth and say we'll do A, B, C, D, and we don't do it, we are undermining, that trust. We are undermining it. It's like a banker or the bank manager and those who save. Okay? There should be a fiduciary relationship between you and your clients and your customers. That relationship is very important and it should not be undermined. Assuming you went to a medical doctor, your doctor, you made some confessions Then you hear it the next time somewhere. I deal with the doctor here, neko cancer. Would you go to that doctor again? So that is how you need to look at it, And here I speak to politicians in this particular matter. And you, the public servants too. There are certain secrets. Even on a man's deathbed, he rather should go with it rather than disclose. Don't tell me I'm a Christian. When God told Abraham to go and sacrifice Isaac, are you sure he told Sarah that night? And are you sure if he told Sarah that night, Isaac would have slept in that house for Abraham to wake up at dawn and see Isaac? That was a lesson I learned from one national security operative. It's not everything. No. As staff, keep your mouth shut. There are communications that come from speaker. It ends on my desk. There are those that may go to chamber. There are those that may not go anywhere. There are those. These days, why do we have those things? For your eyes only. Top secret. The military still do it. Confidential. Many people, they say what a cat will see and turn the eye this way. A dog will not see quarter. Whoa. Hey, I saw this. Then, so things are leaking sometimes. And for the media, when they get information, they will run with it and go and sell it. If you are caught in that situation, a public servant must be marked by some features. Confidentiality, anonymity, secrecy. Those features these days we can't find them, but we need them. Be one of those. Don't be the other type. So that you can keep the trust of the established order. That's why sometimes if you want to assign duty, you are looking at before you assign duty. Sometimes you propose a name, you put it aside. Because the system watches. Let us keep the trust of the established order. Politicians, keep the trust of your constituents. Things you cannot do. I know sometimes it's difficult for you to say, but you should be able to say, well, I can't do this on my own, but at least I can whisper to somebody in authority who can help. Because they say, and you are, is that not what they use against you when you go for the primaries? So let's watch out. Ensure Parliament remains responsive to the needs and aspirations of the people it represents. It's a responsibility. Now, let's look at, categorization of, petition. It may be personal, it may be public. Personal petition seeks relief on an individual matter. Example, a dismissed public servant appealing, against unfair treatment. That is a personal petition, And we know individuals' right. Those of you at committees, Adams, sitting at the Department of Official Report, you see a lot of these things and we capture them. We have petition which is of a public nature. It raises a broader national issue, and citizens petitioning against environmental degradation. There are thousands of them, several others. So petition could be personal or of a public nature. And your responsible citizens, and family, for this one, it's not my matter. But responsible citizens would ensure that the community in which they live, the environment and all that, you should be responsible. If there's something going wrong, you should be able to draw attention of the established order. Sometimes the authority authority may not be aware of the extent of the problem caused by that, either negligently or through inadvertence, something could be left out, or howsoever described. That is why petition is necessary. It's not always the case that it is for you to pursue your interests. It's not always the case that it is for you to, as it were, exact accountability. Sometimes just to draw attention to a matter. Recently, Adams, you sent me a message on the WhatsApp about, and I said, yes, this is something that affects, because I'm trying to reach you, I can't reach you, and I'm frustrated, And sometimes you say, why is he? He's put off his phone. It's not true. There's frustration in the system. Petition. It was a kind of prayer. It's a petition in a form. Okay? It's not always a formal one that goes through, the systems. So that is it. The standing order is very clear. Order 99.2. A petition may be presented to the House by a member or on behalf of another person on a matter of personal nature or public concern. We've explained that it can be public, it can be personal. Okay? But the orders regulate that. Citizens cannot present petitions directly on the floor of Parliament. You know it. You have to go through a procedure. The procedure is that you present it through a member of Parliament. Order 99.3, 4 and 5 provide the rules on a petition as follows. The petition must take a particular form. If you are writing a petition, sometimes the House may, depending upon the station in life of the person presenting the petition, may gloss over a few things. You will not rigidly adhere to these, provisions, because the person may be an illiterate, or the person may be semi-educated, and may not be able to write in a particular way. But it must be in writing. It must be dated. You can't write and you won't date it and send it. Because accountability, if you don't provide a date, you can go and stand somewhere and say, I presented a petition 2 years ago and nothing has happened. Meanwhile, date you didn't provide. It must be signed, marked, or thumb-printed by the petitioner on the authority of the petitioner. And here, we must note something. We used to have an HR system here that, things were done in particular with the personal records form. And until somebody took us to Shraj, arguing that this is somewhere 17 years ago, Mr. Francis Edward Morgan was then the HR director. The moment I noticed that thing, and I noticed where the member was coming from, I said, Mr. Morgan, redesign the personal records form. Redesign this thing and add a jurat. So that if the member thumbprints, the person thumbprints, there should be a jurat. The jurat is to the effect that this thing was read, rehearsed in the ears of the person who thumbprinted, and explained to the person in the language the person understands. And the person understood everything and authenticated the fact that he has understood before he thumbprinted. When you do that, then the alibi will not avail the person who thumbprinted. Now, I didn't know that was it. It was you read to me, and then me too. They said everything I should thumbprint. Then I thumbprinted, and then he will issue a disclaimer against you. So where it is thumbprinted, the person superintending over that must ensure that there is a jurat stated underneath that this has been done and the person has accepted same to be true. It takes the burden off your head. The person cannot come back and plead non-est factum. He can't come back and say, that was not how we negotiated. It must be addressed to a particular authority. If it is to speaker, it must be addressed to the speaker. It must include the name and address of the petitioner. Clearly state the subject matter, and the relief sought. Now, a member notified the speaker, the procedure. A member notified the speaker of the intention to present the petition. The procedure to be followed. So that if you go out and somebody says he's presenting a petition to the House, this is the procedure the person must follow. Notify the speaker of the intention to present. Step 2, the member presenting the petition. No petition can be presented in Parliament by members of Parliament. No outsider can come to Parliament and present a petition. So the procedure is this. The member gets up, notifies the speaker that before then, that I have a petition to present on behalf of this person or that person. The petition determines the merit. The speaker will determine the merits or otherwise of the petition, taking into consideration whether or not the subject matter of the petition is, they said in the law court, they say they should be struck out to the contempt it deserves because it is frivolous and vexatious. It is born out of mischief. It's not done in good faith. Relates to a decision of a court or an action before a court, relates to a matter before a committee of inquiry or a quasi-judicial body, relates to dealings between the government and another government or an international organization. These must guide. It's like a checklist. So you don't just accept anything in the form of a petition. Go through yourself. The member of Parliament presenting, go through very well and make sure that it complies with all these things. Otherwise, you'll be embarrassed on the floor. You may have notified speaker. Speaker may have granted you permission. You are in the process. A member gets up on the point of order, punches hole in what you are saying. This thing frivolous and vexatious. This matter, Mr. Speaker, is before a court of competent jurisdiction. Judgment is yet to be pronounced. But the person listening to proceedings in court and following the arguments and the debate, and the judge appoints a date for a ruling to be given, the person knows that this one here, the ruling, the way it will go against me. Then quickly he runs to Parliament. He wants to seek refuge here. The House cannot countenance that. Time and again, preliminary objections have been raised on the floor on matters, even motions to be moved. The Speaker, this is sub judice. It's a matter before a court of competent jurisdiction. The material allegations in this matter are triable issues before a court. You cannot raise this matter here, because if you do, any pronouncements made here may prejudice the interest of a party in court. And that is that. It's kaput. So you must ensure that you follow that. Now, the Speaker refers the petition to the Petitions Committee or any other relevant committee for consideration if the petition is admitted by the Speaker. So admissibility is vested in the Speaker. The Speaker is under obligation. And if you are a very senior officer here, note that it is possible advice may be sought from you. I remember questions. The opening, I drew your attention to something which occurred. Admissibility of question. The power of admissibility is vested in the Speaker. So if you and you, the procedural clerk, you are not a conduit. You are not a conveyor belt. That anything that comes, then it goes. You are supposed to be a filter, drawing attention to rules of engagement. There have been times I've minuted on the question. Mr. Speaker may decline admission to this question on the following basis. The question is violative of order so and so. So the Speaker goes, he sees it, and then by then I would have interacted with the member and drawn the member's attention that the member will say, let it go. If you say let it go, it will go. And you hit the wall like this, bam. That is it. So you too master the rules. Know your limit, but master the rules. Sometimes if you are afraid, you put a sticker on it, because if they decline admission, they say the question should go back to the sender, return to sender. The sender sees your minute So he went and told Speaker to decline admission to my question. But that is my duty. That's my responsibility. You take the praise. You take the blame or the condemnation. So I rushed to the Speaker. After keeping the question for 2 days, the question was disaster. Because we're in energy crisis. And if you sit as a procedural, you don't sit there and farming. Who told you and farming? Then why are you sitting there? Are you a conveyor belt? You are supposed to advise. I looked at the question. After deconstructing, I saw the handwriting of Che and others in the question. And it was, said that there was nothing you could do. I rushed on the third day with my minute to the Speaker. The Speaker kept the question for 2 weeks. And he summoned me. My own good friend, Dwajaho. This is in the past. If you go and tell him, it's education. This is academic environment. So I don't mind. Because we are learning. Why did you bring this question to me? Why? You asked why like 10 times. Then we are friends. And we argue on legal matters. Then I asked him, there's the old standing orders. I opened to order 67. Say, show me order 67 from paragraph A to, is it Q or S? Show me which of the grounds of admissibility you can stand on to reject the question. The whilst I was giving, he snatched the standing orders from my hands. And then but I knew what was there. So after he has finished, anyway, you are right. And I said, thank God, I'm right. But why did you bring it to me? He said, are you not the Speaker? Who should I give it to? Take it. Go and hide it somewhere. Don't tell anybody that this question is with me. So I took it, came and gave it to Roderick, Odenke Abe. Odenke, hemo, keato. Then 2 weeks, 3 weeks. 1 month. Eben, where is the question? Eben, have you transmitted the question to Speaker? Where is the question? 3 months after we convened, we were getting ready to go on recess in a week's time. Eben, today Speaker is sitting there. Majority leader is sitting here. Minority leader, he was the one talking. Che was the one talking. Everybody is here. Eben, where is the question? Mr. Nimedu was the clerk. Eben, Eben, where is the question? Then Doe retorted, Speaker, I haven't seen any question. If there's something and they bring it to me, I will admit. If it were you say, but you were not the one who told me that I should. You are not worth your salt as a public servant. The rules of engagement of a public servant is that you don't do anything that will disgrace your superior. It's a cardinal principle. Don't tell me I go to church. I also go to church. Me, I preach. I've studied the Bible and I preach. Do you also preach? Mr. Speaker, Che was looking at me. Speaker was looking at me sternly. Mr. Speaker, for the third time, and Che got a message. Oh, Eben, I didn't know you've been constituted into a purgatory for admission of questions. And that was how the matter ended. So it became a joke between me and Che. Hey, purgatory for admission of questions. I decided I won't utter a word. I won't lie also. But I won't utter a word. So at the end of the day, then those sees me say, no, this one here, you have passed the test. This one, you have graduated. We call something in public administration political wisdom. If you're a public servant and you don't have political wisdom, you are not worth your salt. There are things you hear you keep it here. Even on your deathbed. My wife, I won't tell him. It's not everything I'll tell him, because he's not entitled to know everything. Probably it may be too much for him to process. But God has given you the grace to sit where you sit, to process things. So please take note. That's just by the way. So the speaker refers the matter for consideration. The committee must consider the petition. Committee has 30 days within which to consider the petition. And the committee must do its work. And when you are considering a petition, you must make sure you follow the rules. When the witnesses are invited, you have to invite witnesses. The witnesses are entitled to come with their counsel if they so desire. And you must make sure the evidence you record, you send it to the witness. Let the witness read through the evidence and correct anything he thinks he will correct. Where you disagree, you draw attention that, well, this is what you said. Per the records, this is what the audio says. Adams, how many times have some members come to you and want to change some things in the Hansard? Then you tell them, I'm sorry, you can't. This is it. This is what you said. Grammar we can correct. But what you said, the hard fact has to be told. And if the member runs to me and says, honorable member, are you sure what you are saying? I'll call for records. So they will play it too. And that's it. Truth. He has unfettered rights. You have to go through all the process. The member or an officer of parliament is not permitted to publish the report. So those in the habit of secretly giving things out to be published, you are warned. It's not part of the rules of engagement. It is never public until it is listed on the other paper and it's a presentation of papers. And then the person rises in his seat and bows to the chair. It is laid for distribution. That distribution is to members of parliament. At that point, any other person can access it. At that point. Until then, if you secretly give it out, you are a very terrible public servant. And some people, you have national security operatives amongst us. You have announced people operating amongst us, ready to pick information. So you are supposed to be alert in doing your work. It is not public until it is laid. Once it is laid, then it can go out. So who did this? Who did that? There was a day. Honorable Nitiwu, Minister for Defense, he brought a document for presentation. Then the document was in my office under lock and key. The day the thing was listed on the other paper, they were discussing it, Joy FM, front page, the details and everything. Then it came, Parliament. So you people, that day, Charlie, Kwame Abuja was there. He was my savior. The Honorable, stop right there. Jethro has not done anything. Look at my WhatsApp page. Look at the date. As far back as on the 9th, it was being discussed. I'm sure you know about that. It was being discussed on Joy FM. And that day, I did like this. Because in his mind, I've secretly given out the document. If you give me $1 million, I won't do it. I won't do it. If it were in my nature, like by now I should be rich. The longest serving officer at the table. Things happen. Mr. Apodola of blessed memory said something about me. He said, Eben is like stones. If you pour oil on it, it won't absorb it. That was his confession. What am I saying? I keep emphasizing something. We are learning about citizens' engagement with parliament. But what keeps coming out of this is confidentiality. Confidentiality. That is a mark of a true public servant. If you don't have it, I am sorry. You have lost it. Because otherwise, how would I walk to a member and say, Honorable member, you're out of order? Jokingly. But I know what I'm saying. And he also knows, he also understands. be a public servant with distinction. Distinguish yourself in this area, because it's dearly on the heart of Mr. Speaker. A member or an officer of parliament shall not provide evidence in any other forum or disclose any information relating to evidence presented by parliament before parliament or a committee, except with the prior approval of the Committee of Privileges and Immunities. Is understanding others? So, again, you catch me. Say, madam, for you. I warn you. The rules warn you. A committee submission is a formal contribution made by individual civil society, organization, experts, or other stakeholders to a parliamentary committee considering a bill. The committee submission, what the committee presents, the report. The report is a document that summarizes the views of all stakeholders. Sometimes they say, Chairman, your report. You see a member saying, Chairman, your report. And if you are an honorable member who is in the habit of saying, Chairman, your report, you have lost it. It is not Chairman's report. It's the report of a committee. And that report encapsulates all that the public have said in the document. And it is very important for you to note. In the exercise of their functions, committees invite public, to make submissions on matters before them with a view to, gathering expert opinion, committee perspectives, stakeholders' feedback, pending legislation or policy issues to improve the quality and inclusiveness of parliamentary decision. Keep going. Yes. Citizens, organizations, and experts may submit written inputs or appear at public hearings to give oral submission. You are aware of this. You are familiar with this. It's all over the place. Committee hearings, whether it's public accounts, whether it's local government, and so on and so forth. Consideration of bills. We were considering a particular bill. What bill was that? Female genital mutilation, criminal offences amendment bill. Went round, was an old man, seemingly uninformed old man. The information the old man dropped changed our perspective on the whole matter. So, public input is critical. The committee analyzes the evidence and incorporates relevant recommendations to its report. Don't say you are going to do a summarized report. Committee report. You can do executive summary, but let the report. When I wrote my report on ROPA, my good friend, Ndebugri of blessed memory. How many of you know Ndebugri? If you have a case and Ndebugri is on the other side, go and ask Cletus Avoka. He will tell you, you are in trouble. Hey! Mr. Jetro, why have you written a report as if you are on your feet in court arguing? No, Chama, you should go and reduce it. I told Chama, I was a hey, if you know what is coming, you will leave this report. One clause bill, PND's amendment to PND's law 284 on representation of the people's amendment bill. Just one clause. It was how many pages? I wrote about, the pages, you can go and count. One paragraph bill. Over almost 36 pages or so, the report. And I took my time and captured everything. Constitutionality of otherwise of this, including votes of diaspora. I listed every conceivable concern and raised what you do. And if you are a committee clerk, you want to do a diligent job, raise the arguments, raise the counter arguments, and take the position that the committee in summary put. So you look at this and you look at that, then you look at what the conclusion of the committee, and the conclusion should be grounded on law, the Constitution, where it is not a matter of law. The preponderance of probability that the issue is A or B, as the judges may do in court, should guide the writing of your report. So at the end of the day, when you get to the conclusion and the recommendations, anybody reading your report, they read that and then they go to the signature and just sign. Kwame Yosef Prempeh, Chairman, Ebenezer Umajetro, that day. when people heard my name, they said, my wife said, you know your fee. Oh, yeah, Yeshka. I told by a radio, no. Well, they went back and forth. But I was standing my somewhere quietly. You know, if you do a bad report, it will show on the floor. If you do a good report, it will show on the floor. Hard work don't break bones. So work hard. Sometimes I left here 2 a.m. I was staying in Ashoma. I came back 6 to continue. By the time I finished, it was as if they poured fire on me. What was my handbag? When I finished, I said, okay, read through. And then the last one was the president of the then president, President Akufo-Addo. He was then a foreign minister. They kept the thing, and it was an AU summit. They brought the thing in the afternoon. The next morning, AU was meeting. He had to present a report. 5 documents. But we worked on it. And we did it. Because remember, opposition is there. When it's like that, members of the committee on the opposition side, they won't talk. They will give the ammunition to the other side, to non-members of the committee. And they will be firing. If you are concerned and they are punching your report, and then, how do you feel? Me, I don't feel good. I feel unhappy. So please, this is a call upon you as committee clerk to do diligent work. Do the analysis well. The participation by the public ensures that the lawmaking process is consultative, is evidence-based, and offers citizens opportunity to shape policies that affect their lives. You know, it ensures that the executive branch of the state acts within the law, implements policies effectively, and uses public resources responsibly. That is what our system of accountability does. As we actively engage the public, whether it is a petition, whether it is a bill, whether it's a loan agreement, at the end of the day, you want to make sure that the executive acts lawfully, implements policies effectively, responsibly, and then utilizes public resources judiciously. Parliament employs various mechanisms in the exercise of its oversight. We are now in the realms of oversight. That's a very important constitutional reason. And as for that one, we know. Article 103 tells us the mandate of the committee. Oversight, what do we do? Move on. Question session offers us opportunity to oversight. Okay? We review reports, budgets, performance plans, and public institutions, site visits to assess delivery of services and projects, and then public hearings. Now it is public hearing. That's where we are. You bring the people from where far and near. They come, they are on the cameras. The cameras are on them. And whether you are saying the truth or not, people are here. Unfortunately, you know, sometimes the head of them may not even recollect. He may not be the person who was there when that particular activity took place. But you have to answer for them. Sometimes it's not fair. You may. Have you ever gone into examination room? You yourself, you are afraid of that paper. By the time you see that everything you have learned vanishes from your head. And they ask you a question and you are struggling. Has it ever occurred to you? So you should see. And this time round, in the examination room is you alone. But here, the cameras are on you. And those who will be calling you thieves will be calling you thief. It's not easy. It's not easy. But that's what democracy says we should do. Accountability. And we do all these things. See, in the process, we want to ensure that governance is transparent, participatory, and accountable. That is the essence of oversight. Do you remember the case of J.H. Mensah versus Attorney General on the issue of retained ministers? It was not a joke. They had to halt the process. Parliament decided to exercise its oversight authority. And in so doing, Minister of Finance had to go. They begged for him to come and present the budget the next day because the ministers have not been vetted. NDC government won election 1993. They ran up to 1996. The election was conducted again. They won. By January 7, 1997, they've been inaugurated. The presumption was that it's the same old soup. So, business as usual. Judge Mensah said, all of you have to go back to be vetted. Otherwise, you cannot hold yourself out. So, the legislature had to exercise oversight. In the process, the case went to court. The court had to make a pronouncement, until they continued. They continued. That is the power of oversight. Sometimes in the process, when the executive notices that a particular candidate that has been nominated for ministerial appointment is not going well, government quickly announces that they've withdrawn that nominee and they communicate to Parliament to save government and then save the trouble. The power of oversight is very, very powerful. And that is why we, the legislature, sometimes, Ministry of Finance have a way of getting them. When it's getting to budget time, everything that they have to release. Right now, 10%, 10%, Don't worry. But they have done well. This year, we almost lost the clothing, but we got it. Now, when I saw that, I told them, okay, you give us this and that and that. But remember, then the 10%, I'll take it. Now, next week is budget. Is that not it? Okay. So, that is good news. Because condition precedent. The Nigerians say money in a hand, back in the ground. Who will do that? So, I'm talking about oversight. Increasing public education, including holding outreach programs. Where are we? Yes. We are suggesting to improve public participation in the work of Parliament. How do we improve public participation in the work of Parliament? We need to do what? Increase public education, including holding of outreach programs on how to petition Parliament. When we do that, we give them appropriate knowledge, and it opens up the prospects for them to more actively engage with us. Deploying digital tools, including virtual committee hearings and online portals for submission of petition. That area, I speak to the Public Affairs Subdivision, the online portal for submission of petitions. Now that we have a petitions committee, we didn't have a petitions committee, and it was those days, it wasn't good. Constitutional Legal took up all those burdens, and you can have about 30 petitions, and then some will go to speaker and report that you've not reported on the petition. It wasn't a joke. Today there's a petitions committee. We also want to open online. When we do that, somebody in Fanchenko village, once he's able to get the internet facility, he can send a petition. He doesn't need to travel all the way to Accra to send the petition. Digital platform, ICT department, Public Affairs Subdivision. The ball is in your court to make sure this platform is made available for us to be able to improve public participation, establishing feedback mechanisms for petition presented to Parliament. There should be a feedback mechanism. They should know what is happening out of the petitions received, what we have responded to, what has engaged the attention of the House, what the House has said about it. We should have a feedback system where, the public will know that, so this is happening. Otherwise, people don't know what is happening. And then they will be holding us to task. It's our responsibility. And once we think about that, the officers concerned, the officers of those departments must be up and doing. Establishing internal structures to facilitate public participation. Citizens Bureau, public engagement, media relations. You have a role to play. And for Citizens Bureau, it will be activated with the force it deserves. And we would, because, let me tell you something. You see, the representation function is the pillar of democracy. Democracy, the original concept, as perceived by the Greeks in the Greek city-states, was that all the male adults got involved in the process. Is that not it? Good. They got involved. So the views were represented. Today, it's not possible. You may do questions, you may do statements, but there's a limit to what? How far you can go. But Citizens Bureau provides ready avenue so that the member of parliament who has so much burden, so much work to do, he's thinking about where to get money to solve some of the problems. 20 people have brought petitions. Chances are he may forget some of the petitions he put in his bag. Some he put in his drawer at his residence in the constituency. He may forget because he has too many things to think about. Citizens Bureau says, ready avenue for any member of society to directly input into the process. Sometimes the speaker comes to the chamber and he makes announcements in the form of communication, inviting the house, directing their minds to critical things, how the public is viewing certain things. That's what the public's reaction is. He has gleaned those things from a particular vehicle or instrument. That is what the Citizens Bureau does. Direct avenue for people to input into the process. In all inclusive, not leaving anybody behind. That is a concept. That concept, if you want to subject it to our processes here, you file a question. Admissibility. Chances are the question may not capture the concerns properly. It takes 3 weeks for the minister to respond. The minister may decide that, I'm traveling for this statutory function, international commitment, IMF, World Bank, this, that. So Minister of Finance may not be available. If it takes 3 months, that question will take 3 months to be answered. Citizens Bureau says that immediately the information reaches, it goes to the appropriate authority. Pronouncement is made. The person suffering that particular problem or disability, his anger, his bent up feelings is assuaged, at least. So there's a direct input. So don't look at it as one of another structure, what at all they are doing. The parliament has moved on. The traditional concept we had in mind is no longer what it is. IPU emphasizes some of these things. And this is how they measure the openness of our parliament. So when we talk first in Africa, don't think that it's because we made good laws. Every parliament makes good laws. So what are you talking about? Don't say because we exercise due diligence on budget. Every parliament passes budget. So there must be something. Citizens Bureau. Open governance partnership. Okay? These are some of the features. So speaker responds directly on the floor. Brings things to the attention of the house, which will otherwise take about 1 month. If it goes through a process before it gets there. This is what it means. So please, I'm drawing your attention. Those of you who have some ideas about some of them, please, try to rethink your position. Okay? Democracy must respond to the needs of the people. If it doesn't, it is useless. the ends of governance is human development. If governance cannot provide human development, then there's no need. We should go back to the state of nature. That is it. It's as simple as that. And you are supposed to be part of the process. Me, I'm supposed to be part of the process, facilitating good governance and not, being obstacles to good governance. Committee report, referral, 3 months, 6 months, nothing has happened. The chair didn't call a meeting. What were you sitting down doing? Put the list, the whole this thing, and go to the chair and the ranking member. This is the referrals we have. The year is coming to an end. A bill has been referred. 3 months. You shouldn't stay in the committee for more than 3 months. It's 3 months. Chairman, we are out of order. As procedure clerk, it's your responsibility. If you are not doing this, I am sorry. As I draw conclusion, Kwame Oseprempe will tell me, Eben, me old man, reports na 3 and 4, means you 2. Bring the drafts when we meet. You call a meeting, the chairman, the members, what did you bring? I didn't bring anything. Either you sit down and look at the report, or we'll do it. It goes to the floor. That is how you help the process. Be proactive, get involved, and let democracy, parliamentary democracy, yield the desired dividends to the public. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jethro. It's always a pleasure to hear his wealth of knowledge on practice and procedure. We'll move on to our discussion quickly. And our moderator is Ms. Valerina Lamio-Koboy. Shall we please give her a round of applause?
Thank you very much. I welcome you to the second phase of today's discussion on this essential pillar of our democracy, how citizens can participate, explaining petitions, committee submissions, and oversight. As our venerable clerk rightly said, this function is sine qua non to the running of our democracy. And in any vibrant democracy, there's a relationship between Parliament and the citizenry. Yet for many, this process of engagement can feel opaque. And to others, the actual pathway in engaging can be like, for lack of a better word, bureaucratic hoop. So to navigate this terrain, without much of further ado, I call on Honorable Edem Agbana, MP for K2 North. Please, would like you to join us. We already have Mr. Richard Echampong here. You can do better. There's a need for gender balancing, and so I call on Madame Ekia Drua, Senior Principal Assistant Clerk for Committees. Last but definitely not the least, I call on Mr. Adam Idrisu, Editor of Debate, Office of Chamber Reporting. And my first question would go to the clerk, to Parliament, Mr. Ebenezer Ahoma Jethro. What's the real power of influence? Is it mainly public outcry on social media, or does it have to do with petitioning? I want to establish the two, whether that can also be an opportunity for people to engage. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe that both works. You see, petition is a vehicle or an avenue that are rules of engagement placed at the disposal of the public to be able to reach out to us. It is a vehicle, it is an avenue. And people are supposed to access that vehicle or avenue to be able to reach out to us. But you see, you, the father, let me put it that way, should also be conscious of what is happening in the system. You don't always have to sit back for people to reach out to you before you respond to an issue. It is for you, as you engage in the business of what? Legislative governance, to look into the system. And that is why we have to critically take a look at post-legislative scrutiny, post-legislative impact assessment. These two are critical pillars or models or tools that will enable the legislature to at all times remain relevant. If you can only be relevant because somebody has raised a petition, somebody has raised a concern, then it will be what? Firefighting approach. There's a problem here, then you run there. There's a problem here, then you run there. So if no problem is announced, then armchair director, you are sitting. How would you be assessed? How would you be measured? So the way you put the question, I understand it. It's well situated, but I'm drawing attention to the fact that it is not reactionary. Parliament's approach should not be reactionary. Parliament must daily engage in the process and then follow up, follow through, and make sure we remain relevant at all material times. The only way you can remain relevant at all material times is when you yourself, you are looking into the system, assessing what you have done, looking at the impact, and when you notice a gap, before somebody cries, you already are in a position to fill the gap. This is the approach.
Thank you, Mr. Ahoma Jetro. Our next question would go to our one and only lady on this panel, Madam Ekia Drua. How would you explain to the citizenry about overcoming some of these bureaucratic hopes when it has to do with submission of petition and then reports from committees? Thank you.
Thank you very much. After Mr. Jetro's presentation, I'm wondering what else to add. It was very comprehensive. So your question, how would I?
How we can overcome
The
the bureaucratic hoops?
bureau- Okay, when I was listening to the presentation, I realized that one of the steps is missing in the standing orders, which is the easiest way for any citizen. The step that you can write straight to the speaker. It's not in the standing orders, but we realize that it's not only the standing order that regulates us. We have the rules, the traditions, the rulings of the speaker and all that. So the practices, so over the years, you can petition the speaker straight, right to the speaker, and then the speaker will bring it down to the committee, to the house for it to be laid, and then to be referred to the committee on petitions. So that's the simplest way to break that bureaucracy for a petition to be sent to Parliament. Thank you.
Added to that, that is why we are deploying digital tools. when you have the digital tools there, what it simply means is that any aggrieved person, the education must go to the public. You don't just deploy digital tools and say the channel is there. What do you mean? Educate the public to know that there's a straightforward way to access this thing, digital tools. That's why Citizens Bureau and the rest are also there, so that matters can quickly catch the attention of the House. So it's complementary.
I think you took the words from me. I was coming to even ask Honorable Agbana how we can utilize technology in making some of these things simpler. So if you would also want to add on to what our venerable clerk just said, I will be very grateful, so that our audience out there can understand better how and what processes citizens have to go through to submit a petition. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. Just like Madam said, it was quite insightful listening to Mr. Jetro give a presentation. In fact, I came here to be a part of the panel, but I learned a lot, and I'll be going home with his presentation to go and refresh my knowledge on parliamentary proceedings and how to petition and all of that. Having said that, I think it's important to state that the strength of every democracy is, or the strength of any parliament anywhere in the world is not necessarily in the quality of laws that parliament passes, but it is in the trust that exists between parliament and the people, because MPs are representatives of the people, and there must be that trust, because when you are representing somebody, the person must have the trust that at any point in time, his or her interest is being secured in whatever activities you are engaged in Parliament. And so it is important to help the citizens or the people we represent to get involved and informed about activities of Parliament. Currently, digital platforms provide opportunities for our constituents to engage us and for our constituents to send their views and all of that. What is a bit challenging is that many of them may not have the capacity to go through the formal procedure of petitioning, where they will sit and write, for want of a better word, a logical petition, but they may have a concern about a particular issue. Sometimes even as they are member of parliament, they send it to you via text, WhatsApp, they will call you and inform you and what have you. We can use the digital platforms to deepen that trust. And that is why Parliament's current initiative to have a TV station to carry live proceedings of Parliament and even some of the committee meetings live for the people to see is a good initiative, because it opens up Parliament, and so people do not have all those perceptions about what goes on in Parliament, but people begin to understand better the proceedings and the issues that we are attending to here in Parliament. How can we make the digital platforms available to our people? It is by we, the members of Parliament, must become the messengers. And so, for example, I'm a member of the Public Accounts Committee. Anytime I engage my constituents, I encourage them to watch Parliament TV and also to follow live on Facebook proceedings of Public Accounts Committee, because many of them may not necessarily understand the essence of what we do, or they may not appreciate it. So we can make these platforms available to them. I also believe that Parliament's website can also become a very useful tool to get information, and Parliament social media handles. Currently, for many institutions, for many companies, many brands, the best way to get feedback from the people they are serving is to run either polls on social media, and within minutes or hours, you see a lot of people responding. It is possible for Parliament to do same. If, for example, budget is presented, yes, it is we, the members of parliament, that will go into the details and approve the budget. But it should be possible to put highlights of the budget even on our website or on our social media handles and ask the citizens, what do you make of the finance minister's presentation of the budget? Which aspect do you agree with? We can pick feedback on generally the direction of the citizens on some of these issues, and that will become very useful. So I will encourage the digital team or the communications team of parliament to get innovative with how to engage and solicit feedback from our citizens on the issues that happens here in parliament. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me add that the Legislative Management Services has put together these number of experts when it comes to law, governance, and civil engagement. We have in our midst Honorable Emmanuel Kwesi Bejra, MP for Ho West. I would like us to welcome him with a round of applause. Welcome. Before I move on to the other panelists, I'm back to Madam Ekiadrua, because I know you are the SPAC in charge of committees. Yes, I will. If a committee is scrutinizing a new piece of draft legislation, at what point do citizens come in with a submission or an input to aid in your committee's work?
Okay, we have, when a bill is before a committee, one of the first things that we do is to invite right to the public through the news media to invite for memoranda from the public. Aside that, we also write to stakeholder institutions. Let's say the bill is on land or something, we write to maybe Lands Commission or the Chieftaincy Institution to give us their opinion on the bills. So we also have stakeholder that we also write for their input. And then after all this is done, we do what we call stakeholder engagement. That's when we bring all the stakeholders together with the public, those who have brought memorandums. Then we they come and defend what they brought, so that the committee would say whether it's worthy to be added to the bill, or we have to take some out. And so the public is engaged at that level. Thank you.
Question goes to you, Honorable Bejra. For a citizen seeking a quick public acknowledgement of a grievance, which tool is most appropriate? Is it petition, oversight via an MP, or committee submission? And which one is more effective and why?
Well, thank you very much. Good morning. Sorry I'm late, Mr. Clark and my colleagues. For citizens to either petition Parliament or send any request to Parliament for quick response, there are many ways. I believe other panelists have already discussed that. We talk about petition. Now, would petition be quicker in response? In our environment, petition delays. It delays because it has to go through a process. And that process, if you're not careful, it will delay. The time that you're looking for the response, you will not get it. Then, either through your member of parliament, that is quicker. You walk to the member of parliament, the member of parliament takes your suggestion or petition, whatever it is, and the member of parliament can ask question on the floor of the house. It could be an urgent question if it's of public interest, and that could be, easily addressed. You can also write to the speaker, and the speaker will come and read it on the, it might not be a petition to the speaker, but a statement to the speaker. And the speaker will look at it. If it merits, for him to read, and as we all normally do, he will bring it up. So whether it is petition through your member of parliament who asks question, or whatever means that it goes through, I believe that the one-on-one. Now, if you are far off, you cannot get a member of parliament to do it for you. Let's say people who might not have a direct link with their members of parliament. That's why we have our online portals there. You could arrange. I have received a lot of questions, a lot of things, and based on that, I just put in questions from citizens. And so, if you are not able to have one-on-one, with your member of parliament or any member of parliament, the online portals are there, our emails are there. You can write to us, and then we'll deliver on your behalf. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that elaborate submission. My next question goes to Mr. Richard Echampong. Conversely, for a citizen or an expert to influence the technical wording of a law, why is a committee submission a more important or useful mechanism than a petition? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so as has been clearly stated by the clerk, Parliament works with procedure, works with processes. And so if a bill is before a committee and is at that stage that the committee considers thoroughly the various aspects of the bill. So if a member of the public has any issue, any concern, anything that they want to be incorporated in the bill, that is the best stage, because that is where the bill is being considered. If we wait to do it in a form of a petition, yes, it will have to go through all these processes. First, the speaker will have to admit it, and then refer it to perhaps the same committee. So that one is rather a longer route. So if you can make yourself available, and for the committee already has considering a bill, already advertises the bill and invites memoranda from the public. So if you are a member of the public that you have any issue of concern, you are free. You have easy access to the committee at that stage. Either you write to the committee or you arrange with the clerk to the committee to appear before the committee and present your request and get the necessary support that you need. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Richard Echampong. And I circle back to the clerk to Parliament. For many, the lack of responsiveness of Parliament is one of our major deficiencies. What steps can Parliament take to ensure that when citizens engage using these various mechanisms, they receive meaningful feedback and it doesn't appear that they are ignored? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Parliament has to be responsive. I indicated that our approach should not be reactionary. We should be proactive. We are delivering goods and services for which the good people of Ghana entered into a social contract with us. What this simply means is that requests that come by way of petitions, by way of some concerns for some interventions to be made, parliamentary committees must respond in time. The rules of engagement has to be kept. If the Constitution says a bill cannot stay with a committee for more than 3 months, Business Committee of the House must have a structural arrangement where there's a schedule of matters before the House, keeping the timelines, prompting, and the House is supposed to do what? Take immediate action. It's as simple as that. There cannot be any other way. A bill has been laid. Committee has to report on a bill. The committee should report on a bill within the time frame. And so people should be active in this regard. Citizens should also, keep the interaction, and staff must be dedicated. Platforms must be utilized. We say we are talking about digital tools. We should have officers who are dedicated monitoring the platform. You don't expect Mr. Speaker or the committee chair to be the one monitoring the platform. What is your use as a staff? What is your use? Is it the case that after you have arranged a committee meeting and then that's the end of the story? No. We now have a lot of staff. They should do their work. I have issued instructions that heads of department should report to me on levels of staff deployed to all departments, their schedules, what their daily schedule is, and then reports should be sent. I expect every staff to give a report at the end of the week about what he or she has done, so that you earn the salary. You should earn the salary. Otherwise, you are being unfair to Ghana. You are being unfair to Parliament. You are being unfair to the public. You are earning salary for no work done. Please take this. It is so serious. For me, it is a very, very serious thing. If we are up and doing, we will be proactive. We will not be reactionary. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Would you like to add on to that?
Yes, thank you. Just to add a little about the digital platforms and tracking responses to petitions and all of that. I think one of the challenges that I have in Parliament is sometimes following up on documents. And you want to know the status of what you have submitted, whether it's a question, it's a statement. You have to do a lot of walking about and running around. If we truly want to be a parliament that is technologically driven, we should consider platforms where it should be possible that after I submit a statement or a letter on my portal as a member of parliament, I should be able to have access to know what is the status of my question, whether it has been scheduled for this day or it will be scheduled for that day, and something like that. It's a bit of a challenge, because sometimes you even have a statement admitted and you come prepared, you wear your Christmas suit ready to come and deliver, believing that you are about to read so that your constituents will know. Sometimes you even call your executives that today I'll be reading this statement, and you come and you don't find it there and all that. So that's on the lighter note. But I think it should be possible for us to track communication among ourselves. We should be able to see it on a portal, so I know that this is the status of this petition or this letter that I have submitted. The IT department may consider doing something about that. Thank you.
Let me draw your attention. You see, it should not just be to you. Once it is admitted, once it is submitted, it's gone through a process. It should be put on the platform for all members, because the statement you are going to make, there will be contributions from the floor. A member may have a very useful contribution which will add value to it. So it is made available to all and sundry. That is what we should do. We should be very active and proactive. And we have a lot of opportunities. It is a matter of being proactive. People should love work.
Okay. Honorable
Thank you very much. Every open parliament should be responsible and should be responsive to the request that comes from citizens. If our parliament has been noted and approved and given high notes internationally as one of the open parliament, then we should be getting to that state. I remember about 2 years ago, the World Bank was sponsoring a platform that is supposed to have all this thing that we are talking about, where you track all the, processes that are needed, including petition, including the statement, including questions. You track it from the console. You know where your statement has reached, whether it has reached the speaker has approved it or not. All this has been done. It's not that it's not been done. So I want to agree with you that wherever that platform is, whatever that system is, the IT department should bring it up. Maybe Mr. Clark. Mr. Clark, I was just talking about the platform that the World Bank sponsored, where all that we are talking about was there. You were supposed, when you initiate a statement, it goes through the system and you can locate where the statement is. I don't know where that system is, where that platform is. We should be able to bring that platform back to make sure that we've gotten to a place where the whole international community is looking up to Ghana as one of the open parliament. Last year, we were second. South Africa was first and we were second. Last 3 years, we were first. But we've now dropped to second position. And so if we can do some of these little things, the sky will be our limit. So I want to beg you, Mr. Clark, that wherever that system is, let's bring it back, because it will help citizens to know exactly, even including members of parliament, when you put in question, they don't even know where the question is. You can track it from that system. Thank you very much.
Okay. I also have a suggestion here, and it goes to the clerk to parliament, and it says that given the majority of our population belonging to the younger generation, they would plead with you, with regards to such fora, have a live question and answer session where we go beyond just written submissions to democratize our oversight functions and for us to engage with a more diverse audience. So this is a suggestion to you, Mr. Clark. Also, my next question is to Mr. Adam. How does the rise of social media campaigning and viral online content both support and potentially undermine the formal structured process of parliamentary petitions?
That's a very nice question. First, I also want to thank Mr. Clark for the presentation. And we all know that there is democracy. One parliament is properly constituted, freely conducts its business for the benefit of the people. Otherwise, there is no democracy. That's why from 1981 to 92, we said there was no democracy. All the agencies, all the other arms or branches were there, but there was no democracy. We are in a new era. Speaking specifically to the question, the new media, what people call social media, is now the new norm. We cannot do without it. And a lot of platforms exist. The very common ones are the Facebook, the X, TikTok, Snapchat, and the rest, YouTube. But how can Parliament leverage on this new media to engage the citizen? That is the question. Mr. Clark mentioned about a portal. And there is a need for Parliament to deploy all the necessary mechanisms to engage with the citizens. But I must caution that we may have a challenge where people from all over, because let's remember, we are looking at 7 Ghanaians. If you open it up to social media, people from Azerbaijan can easily get in. Maybe IT can have a way of limiting it to only IP addresses from Ghana. There is a way to also check that. But the new media is something that we cannot do away with, and we need to really leverage on it to engage with the people fully. Let me use this opportunity to also appeal. Mr. Clark is here, NCA is there, the telecos are there. I think it is high time we explore the possibility of people watching parliamentary proceedings on the social media channels without consuming data, without paying for data. It is possible. Why should our people pay to witness what we do for them? There should be some engagement. Once you are on Parliament's Facebook page or YouTube page, you don't consume data. And it is possible, it can be done. And we should explore that. There was this thing done by an individual officer, an individual in Parliament, where you just dial a short code and you listen to parliamentary proceedings on your phone at a small fee. It stopped some time ago. It is something that we can also explore, where people can always engage with Parliament. But you asked a question about petitions and then whether we should use petition or committee. I had an intervention there. The people can use petition on two main grounds. One, when that matter is not before Parliament, or when Parliament has already decided on that matter, that is where petition is very effective. But when it comes to a matter that is before Parliament, the citizen has every opportunity to make a submission at the committee level for the inputs to be made. But when that matter is not before Parliament, the best route is petition. When Parliament has already made a decision on it, then the best route is also decision. But if it's with the committee, you have to engage at the committee level and make your submission right. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
You see, you are not popularizing Citizens Bureau and the rest. You see, because you are saying if the matter is already before us, then they should come and make submission. The man is in Bunkurugu. So the Citizens Bureau offers space for.
All right. So Mr. Clark directed me to me. You see, there's a Parliament. I mean, this is one unique office or department the Parliamentary Service has established, the Citizens Bureau. So let me start with the Citizens Bureau. Okay, so the Citizens Bureau, it is an opportunity for you to engage Parliament directly. So, and I believe we should find a way of even, we are live so we should be able to mention the email address that people can email. But in any case, even if I can't remember the Citizens Bureau email address, I can use Clark's email address. clark@parliament.gh. clark@parliament.gh. Right there, the Citizens Bureau, if it is a matter that he will refer it to them and they don't handle it. It's an opportunity. Remember I mentioned that it is when Parliament is properly constituted, freely conducts itself for the benefit of the people. So please get in touch with Parliament. Tell us what you want done. And Mr. Clark, maybe we have to also look at the way we also do our business. This parliamentary question time where you have to always file questions with notice. They even ask a supplementary question, then they say you have to submit, and I think we should move away from that place. Now, a number of parliaments, where we have Prime Minister question time, they ask about current issues without notice. Yes. So every Friday, there should be something like a Prime Minister question time. We have a very versatile Minister for Government Communication. He should come on Friday, then they allot 1 hour. He answers questions from archaeology to zoology, happenings in the country, without notice. That will make people laugh. But if you file a question, it takes... thank you.
Okay, for the benefit of our viewers out there who are not within the precincts of Parliament and who are following us live on our social media handles, the Citizen Bureau is a unit under the Public Engagement Department. What we do is we act as the boundary spanner between Parliament and civil society organizations as well as think tanks. So we have an office where all your grievances, submissions are channeled to via CSOs, and then it gets to Parliament and it aids in our parliamentary work. Thank you. Mr. Clark, would you like to add on to that?
I think the location of the Citizens Bureau is another matter now. So please, for now, yes, okay. But we want to really make it much more responsive. Okay. So we will have a defined location. I don't want to make a pronouncement here, but we really want to make it vibrant.
Okay.
And I think what I wanted to see, I see a few things here. So I would rather let the honorable member speak to those very issues.
Okay.
Because
Honorable Agbana, the floor is yours.
I don't want to take the wind out of his sails.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
thank you. So for me in Ketu North, there's something I do. We call it the MP's Quarterly Accountability Series. It was a campaign promise I made, and we've done 3 so far. So every quarter, we gather the community, chiefs, all the stakeholders, and on the agenda, everything that transpired in Parliament within the period, especially matters that may be of importance to them, I tell them. Bills that are in anticipation, you tell them. Sometimes they give you ideas or a feedback that is very necessary. So maybe we should also encourage that, because it's a very useful platform. I do it every 3 months, every quarter. I engage the people, brief them what I'm doing for them, issues before us in Parliament, and all those issues. And it's very, very important. I think it is also one of the ways that members of Parliament can solicit views, petitions, or submissions from their citizens for the work of Parliament.
It used to be public forum, town hall meetings. Now, Mr. Speaker's idea is for us we were doing regional public forum, okay? And somehow it halted. We are going back to it, regional public forum. And we may even cascade it to the districts, so that the interaction, because let me draw your attention to something. The executive is in Tumu and is in Ghana-Cote d'Ivoire border, Jomoro and Elubu. There's judiciary has a presence in Tumu. Judiciary has a presence in every district in Ghana. Executive has a presence in every district in Ghana. The legislature, when they mention the legislature, Usu Cemetery, Parliament. That's why they know you are located. Even though public accounts sometimes travels to other places. The Speaker is burdened in this regard, and there's every effort, because Parliament gives semblance of democracy. We are the bastion of democracy. However you argued, whether executive likes it or not, judiciary likes it or not, Parliament is a bastion of democracy. We give visibility to democracy. So we should be nearer to the people in all districts. That is why this argument about parliamentary television station, you can see what it is in contest. But I'm so passionate about it, and I'll debate every human being on it, as far as that matter is concerned. We need to engage the people, because we are the bulwark of democracy. The rights of the people, the concerns of the people. Parliament is in a better position to articulate this. If that is the case, then there should be visibility of Parliament all over, not just through the social media, but occasionally they should see that, and that is why the constituency offices issue is coming up. Because it will be difficult for a die-hard MPP member, ground supporter, to go to the residence of an NDC man, and it ought not to be the case. But the reality is that all kinds of construction, all kinds of interpretation. Okay, then where do you go to do there? But if there's an office that you can locate, that this is a constituency office, I am a constituent, so I have a right to go to that office and then represent all the issues I have to represent. These are the things we are talking about, and that is why we should do everything possible for Parliament to find representation in every district, all over, so that we can directly interact. For those who may not be smart on social media and the rest, at least there's a place they can go to get things done.
I think we can do better for the clerk. This is a man that is very much
interested in fostering inclusivity. So we thank you very much, and we'll be looking forward to the quarterly town hall meetings and the regional seminars. Thank you, Mr. Clark.
Okay, I have a meeting at 12:30, so I just want to add something quick and go. It is proven that when citizens have their voices heard on a law, a bill that has become law, the adherence level is much higher. Let's take in, for instance, the e-levy. All the resistance. You see, people resisted it. Some people even stopped sending, momo. So the idea that citizens must be engaged is very paramount to even lawmaking itself. So I think we should do more. But we haven't done bad so far. I was telling the clerk that when we started, we had nothing of these the platforms, the forums that we're doing. It was just the petition process, which will take years, which will just go to the Constitutional Legal Committee, which was never attended to, or just few were attended to. So now we have a dedicated committee for petitions. So there's been progress, but still much more needs to be done. Thank you very much.
Much more needs to be done because the world is running very fast. Technology is running very fast. And we too, we are supposed to deliver the appropriate goods and services. We must catch up. We shouldn't be reactionary. We should be proactive.
Due to limited time, I would like to pass the mic to everybody. Your final take on how citizens can engage or how we can improve our engagement process. I'll start with Honorable Bejura.
Thank you very much. I think one of the best things that has happened to this parliament is the Citizen Bureau and Citizen Engagement, Public Engagement Division that has been established by this parliament. Over the years, people were even afraid to approach parliament. People think that parliament is so sacrosanct that you cannot even walk to parliament as if it's a fetish institution. But now, with the establishment of the Citizen Bureau and Citizen Engagement Unit, you can walk to those units and get things done, engage parliament through that position. And so people should not be afraid again. Parliament is open. In fact, we have this saying that if we want the executive to be open, we want things done by the executive openly, then parliament that exact, accountability from the executive must also be open. So citizens should not be afraid at all by engaging parliament. We are open now. You have channels that you can pass to reach whoever you want to reach in parliament. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, so as I think first Clark read Article 1.1 of the Constitution, and it talks about the sovereignty of Ghana, which resides with the people. And so if you go by the statement of Abraham Lincoln, when he described democracy as a government of the people, for the people, and by the people, it tells you that everything about governance revolves around the people. And so participation is a cardinal principle of democracy as well. So even as members are representing, they are representing the interests, the aspirations, the wishes of the people. And for that to be very effective, the people must have a say. Indeed, whatever parliament does must be responsive to the needs and the aspirations of the people. And so if that is the case, everything that we must do to ensure that the public participates in the work of parliament, we must do that. In fact, we live in a country where we have a lot of people, even in academia, who know very little about parliament. Sometimes you hear comments of said people in the on radio stations, in the media, and it leaves much to be desired. And so we must improve upon our ways of attracting the public into the work of parliament. And yes, the Citizens Bureau is one good avenue. Indeed, if you look at our country and the role of civil society organizations, they are more of implementers of government policies and various decisions of the state. And so wherever even parliament is not able to reach as an institution, because in this country there's no way parliament doesn't reach, because you have members of parliament who are representing every nook and cranny of the country. But I'm talking of as an institution. So when laws are made, it takes the instrumentality of these organizations, these bodies. Some of them are into agriculture, they are in various facets of life. So they take aspects of the policy or the laws that are relevant to their major occupation, and they take it around to the people. They take it, they help implement it, and they help take views from the people. Now, when they are done, they also research into the application of laws and their impact on the people. And they aggregate this in their reports. So the good thing about the Citizens Bureau is that such reports are made available to Parliament through the Citizens Bureau. So committees, committee clerks, committee members of Parliament can have access to them directly. The same way, when we pass laws and we need inputs from the public, apart from the publication that we do, we can also, once it is put out there by the Citizen Bureau, we get organized institutions like civil society organizations to take interest and also respond to the needs that Parliament may have to ensure that it does a thorough work. So civic participation in the work of Parliament is very important. We must do everything as members, staff of Parliament to ensure that citizens engage, or we engage with citizens.
We are pressed with time, so in a statement or two, Mr. Adam.
Parliament is for the people. It is for a good reason we call it the House of Parliament. It is your house. Come visit. It is working for you. Get involved. Thank you.
All right, thank you. My concluding remarks will be that if Parliament is to remain the institution of the people, there is a charge before us. You and I must play our roles effectively to deepen engagement with the citizens. Let's move engagement from our processes to practice. When citizens feel heard, involved, and respected, they defend democracy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. God invented democracy. He established human government when he told Adam, take charge of everything, exercise dominion. God established human government. And God believes in democracy. Democracy grants hearing. You listen. So when even Adam misbehaved, Eve misbehaved, he had to grant them hearing based on the principle of the law of territory. The devil had no place there because it is only man that has capacity to rule the earth. So God dealt with Adam and dealt with Eve before he made a pronouncement. What it simply means is that the people, governance must be people-centered. And if governance has to be people-centered, then we must hear the people. And we have put in our constitution that sovereignty is vested in the people of Ghana. So we must listen to the people. Grant them avenues for them to be able to relate to us. So that based on what they say, the act of governance will be carried out effectively. Parliament must give vent to democracy. And Parliament must implement what the people say, not what we think. I thank you.
I think we can do better for our discussants. Oh, we can do better. Firstly, let me start by thanking the Clerk to Parliament for a wonderful topic and subject matter on how citizens can engage with Parliament. Also, let me thank our discussant, Honorable Edem Agbana. Let me thank Mr. Richard Champon, Honorable Kwesi Bedra, though he's not here, Mr. Adam, for doing justice to this discussion. Let me also commend the Speaker of Parliament and the Clerk to Parliament for their efforts in moving Parliament from a mere representational model to an inclusive system where they bring and take Parliament closer to the doorstep of the people. My name is Valerie Nalam Yokoboy, and I'm your moderator for this session. Thank you.
Thank you to Ms. Boy for moderating this session for us. So we'll quickly take the closing prayer. Because time is fast spent. So I'll call on Ms. Belinda Ahuga to give us the closing prayer. Shall we give her a round of applause?
Shall we close our eyes for the closing prayer? Father, we thank you. We thank you for all you've done for us. We thank you for Ghana. We thank you for Parliament and the parliamentary service. We do not take it lightly that we are part of this service. Father, we thank you for the legislative management services, and we thank you that you have given us this idea to put this together. We thank you for all sessions, especially today's session. We ask that, oh God, we'll go home and implement the ideas we have gleaned from this session, oh God. We thank you for the rest of the sessions to come. We are grateful. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ahunga. Shall we please allow our discussants to leave first? I am Nana Sewa Bunsu Apenkwa. I have been your MC for today. Have a lovely day.